Tzu Chi volunteers conduct home visitations in Libian township of Pingtung in the aftermath of the double typhoons. We look at how a young man who was severely injured in the Kaohsiung gas explosions walked out of despair. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Sue. Thank you for joining us. Libian Township has been severely affected by the recent double typhoons. Tzu Chi mobilized more than 200 volunteers to conduct home visitations there. They walk into 6 villages to deliver aid supplies to local residents.
Zheng'an village of Libian township in Pingtung is located in a low-lying area, with rainwater yet to recede after the area has been flooded for 3 days. Tzu Chi volunteers pay a care visit to the affected residents. Volunteer Huang Xiujin, who is also a typhoon victim of Libian, insists on walking out of her home.
Today we came out to care for the residents so that they can vent their emotions.
We checked to see whether they were affected by the typhoon and whether they need financial aid. We want them to feel that Tzu Chi is always by their side.
The volunteers take 6 routes to conduct home visitations in 6 different villages. In addition to consoling the typhoon survivors, they also distribute gifts of blessings and aid supplies. On their care visits to the affected residents in Libian, volunteers discovered that even though this 71-year-old solitary senior's home has a water gas barrier, it was still flooded. In addition, there is mud left during Typhoon Morakas, which has not yet been cleared away.
This area has been flooded twice in 3 days. The water also flooded my home, so whenever I wanted to go inside to take something, the floor might sink if I step on it. I then realized this was caused by Typhoon Morakas.
Upon learning the situation of the senior when they were conducting home visits, the volunteers immediately mobilized 4 to 5 volunteers to clean up her home.
When we arrived, she had already lifted some parts of the wood flooring. She was cleaning the mud. We went there to help her lift the bottom part of the decoration and then cleared out the mud.
While the volunteers tear down the decoration, they also clear out the mud, which has been accumulated for 8 years. Tzu Chi will always be there to accompany the affected residents as well as deliver love to each household.
In the Philippines, the local people who have received help from Tzu Chi volunteers have gradually taken up the mission of carrying out disaster relief work. This shows that the seed of goodness is spreading.
On pure nature now.
Many people are in need of help. The more we give, the more contentment we can feel. In Ormoc, there are now 66 people who have become volunteers. It is very important to have local volunteers.
Master Zheng Yan once said that if there are local volunteers in disaster areas, disaster victims don't have to wait long to receive help.
Local volunteers are very strong. I've seen them not just giving out goods and help cleaning, they've also consoled the victims with gentle heart.
The meaning of Buddha is enlightenment. He is not the God, nor the sacred spirit. He is the spiritual mentor who starts your conscience.
Being a volunteer has become a part of my life. Giving has made me a better person, and I'm a bridge to transmit the Master's teachings to more people.
Yung teachings ni Master, the more you give, the more you gain. This is my motto.
Also in the Philippines, Mark Lawrence Santos used to suffer from atopic dermatitis, but his family is unable to afford the expensive ointment he needs. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers reached out a helping hand. After a year of treatment, the boy's condition has vastly improved.
Seeing Mark Lawrence Santos, the volunteers are eager to touch his arms.
Okay na. Galing na. Okay sa paa.
2 years ago, Santos suffered from severe atopic dermatitis.
We took him to examination, but we couldn't afford the medical fees.
The ointment was very expensive. It cost 400 Philippine pesos and only lasts 1 week.
After a survey of the family conditions, Tzu Chi volunteers began to subsidize the family with medical expenses, as well as rice, vitamin, and goat milk.
Wow! Nagpapasalamat ako sa Diyos kasi lahat ng tulong niya sa anak ko na support.
I want to say thank you to the Tzu Chi volunteers. They have been a big help to my son, especially the skin ointment and lotion. He's no longer affected by AD.
Hindi na siya bumabalik. Okay na, then.
With the young Santos condition taking a turn for the better, the medical subsidies have ceased. But as they are still care recipients, the family can still receive rice and other nutritional items to subsidize their living, which helps the young parents to make ends meet while raising their child.
To promote vegetarianism, Tzu Chi Philippines chapter invites people to its vegetarian banquet every year. Many people who have tried the food decided to adopt a vegetarian diet because they want to do their part in reducing carbon emissions.
Kitchen volunteers are busy cooking with well-executed skills and professional divisions of work.
Because the earth is getting hotter, we must reduce carbon emissions, so we want to encourage more people to become vegetarians.
Tzu Chi volunteers are busy preparing the dishes for the vegetarian banquet. Celestina only slept for 2 hours the day before, but she seems energetic the next day in preparing things.
Okay lang po kasi
I didn't sleep much, but I'm full of energy. I've been a vegetarian for 40 years, so I know the benefits of being a vegetarian, and I enjoy preparing it.
ginagawa dito.
Tzu Chi Philippine chapter holds a vegetarian banquet every year to promote vegetarian diet, so it also does it this year.
We used the Jingsi food product to make the rice cakes, and they were very tasty. So today we made 2 types of desserts, one being the rice cakes with the black sticky rice, and the other being the coconut cakes.
The volunteers' preparations won the support from the public that the 2-day banquet was packed with people.
I was expecting talaga na all food are in form of vegetables. When you taste it, it tastes really like pork, but you know that the nutrients ay iba.
Pero at least after this activity here, we have something to bring home then, and na vegetarian food also that we can enjoy at home.
When they came, they told me that they came to attend our vegetarian events every year, and they felt it had become the must that they had to come every year. They felt it was like coming home.
Tzu Chi volunteers use the vegetarian banquet to promote tasty and healthy vegetarian diet, so more people can help reduce carbon emissions.
Fowler is a city with a strong agriculture community in Fresno County, California. Most of the residents in this town suffer from Best disease, which leads to poor vision. Since there's no eye clinic here, many children are left untreated, with some being forced to give up on studying. Thanks to Tzu Chi Vision Mobile Clinic, the residents could seek treatment for their eye problems.
So I have glaucoma, retina bleeding, and macular degeneration. I have a form that's called Best disease. So eventually I am going to go blind. My grandmother had it, my uncle has it, my mother has it, I have it. And so it passes throughout the genetics. My right eye, I have scarred tissue and I have blind, well, it's completely blind. And in my left eye, I'm like 2200, so I don't see very well. And I'm light sensitive, so I always wear sunglasses. And I don't like to scare kids. I have 2 children, and so I was praying that neither of them had it. We used to have a doctor who was out here, and they had an optometrist, I believe. But now they don't have that anymore.
Go back with me, I'm going to check your eyes, okay?
I bring them back in the exam room, I check their color vision, I check the alignment of their eyes, I check their 3D vision, and I check how they're seeing, and then I check their prescription myself, see if they need glasses or not. I put eye drops in their eyes to dilate their eyes. While they're waiting for their eyes to be dilated, the child can go out and choose a pair of glasses that they'd like. And then I bring them back in the exam room after about 15 or 20 minutes and make sure their eyes are nice and healthy. I grew up in Fresno County, so it's nice for me to come back and serve the community that I grew up in. And I see a lot of needy children, so I feel really good about myself that I'm able to give back to my community. Them having this out here to help with the community, it's really neat, especially people who don't drive like me. I have to jump through hoops or, do different transportation to get to where we have to go. So this is really a blessing.
I like to see the smiling faces from the client. It's good that you are able to contribute your time to help people as long as you can solve their problem and you can continue provide your help or support to them so that they can have a healthy and happy life.
When the Kaohsiung gas explosions occurred 3 years ago, a young man serving alternative military service at the Xinzhuang fire squad, Tzu Chi, suffered severe burns. After the accident, for more than 2 years, he lived in despair. Fortunately, he then realized there are many other people facing adversities in life. Now he has opened up his heart and is facing life's obstacle bravely. Despite wearing pressure garments, Tzu Chi is playing basketball freely. His life took a turn when Kaohsiung gas explosion occurred.
Before we were ready, the explosion occurred. We were really worried because he was severely injured. He was near the end of his service term.
As an alternative military serviceman, Chen did not wear protective gear. Therefore, the firefighters feel guilty.
I feel that we were not qualified to console him, since in a way he was injured because of us.
We had joked around and said if there was an explosion, I would hide behind the firefighters. However, since I was injured, I did not know they would feel this way. They want to protect me.
Chen is comforting the firefighters with a smile because they have been caring for him. However, he also felt disgruntled half a year ago.
I was there to help people. Why would misfortune fall upon me? I became someone who relies on the help of other people.
When he was hospitalized, I did not go bother him because he was really feeling down.
After he underwent rehab, he never came back. We were really worried.
In the past, Chen, who was handsome, did modeling and other business. However, since he suffered burns to 50% of his body in the gas explosion, for more than 2 years he struggled with his emotional scars. Then he was inspired.
I saw some TV commercials of disadvantaged groups and I thought people also played these commercials in the past, but I did not pay attention to them. But now I know a lot of people are like me.
In March of this year, Chen called city volunteers and expressed his willingness to become a documenting volunteer. Now he picks up the camera because of encouragement from Master Zheng Yan.
The master thinks I would be fine and said that, come join the documenting volunteers. I kept her words in mind for 2 years.
With the master's words of encouragement, Chen is holding a photo exhibit at the end of this year, documenting other burn victims.
He told me he wanted to take photos of me at work. I thought he had changed a lot. He became more active. This is really good.
Capturing other burn victims with his camera, Chen wants the public to see their struggles and efforts, hoping to inspire more people to walk out of despair. 74-year-old Lee Kok-wah once lived in Selangor, Malaysia with his wife. But 2 years ago, his wife had a car accident and became bedridden. Then Tzu Chi started assisting them financially. In March last year, his wife died from bacterial infections in her lungs, which caused him to grieve. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers constantly encourage him. Now he has recovered from his grief and started a new chapter of his life.
Lee Kok-wah seems very tough, but when his wife died, he grieved deeply.
In the past, I'd buy newspapers or watch TV to spend my days. Otherwise, I'd weep whenever I thought of her.
We just kept him company all the time. Then the charity team invited him to attend a class for volunteers so he could unleash his emotions and stress.
Whenever I'm at home and have nothing to do, I'll think about the past. But if I have something to do, I won't think about the past. Right now, I always look forwards.
When he started to give, his mind also opened, especially when he visited needy families.
I'm more fortunate than them. I'm much older, but I'm still healthy. I can still walk and go outdoors, but they are bedridden and cannot move.
The visits allows him to realize he is fortunate and does not lack anything. Although he is qualified for Tzu Chi's financial assistance, he declines the gesture.
Since I can be independent, I should be self-sufficient. I can't keep thinking about getting every cent from Tzu Chi because it isn't right. I hope Tzu Chi can give money to people who need it more than me.
From recipient to becoming a giver, Lee Kok-wah has changed his life for the better.
Taipei's Tianmu is an area where education is highly valued. Even after school, education does not stop, as many students have private tutors. But in rural areas such as Hualien, children have to help with farm work when they come home. Today, in our third series about e-learning, we visit a teacher in Hualien who's making use of China's e-learning platform to help his students.
Here is Hualien's Yuli Township, where after school every day, these children play and enjoy themselves. However, some 200 kilometers away in Taipei, when students come home, they continue studying. This elementary student from Tianmu reports to an after-school program, then at home gets one-on-one instruction with a tutor, paying close attention to progress. Meanwhile, in Yuli Township, Yo-jun doesn't just play with her dog, but does housework or farming. This shows the huge divide between rural and urban education.
Mostly I come home to help out my mother with chores and then do some homework and then take a bath. What do I do on the weekends? That's when I go out and play.
In the evening, Ye Xin-chen is still spreading fertilizer on the fields as his daughter Yo-jun frequently comes to help. But when it comes to education, Mr. Ye feels powerless as he wants his daughter to be well educated.
Some math problems seems to be above the junior high school level. I am surprised they will be able to study this.
Parents are having a hard time teaching their children, especially when they return home from fields late in the evening. Mr. Ye struggles with his daughter's textbooks, wondering how junior high school content is now appearing in elementary school textbooks.
Textbooks are written for the sake of students, but the problem arising now is that these educational concepts are not the same as when their parents studied.
Seeing many of these parents unable to tutor their children as well as lack the funds for cram schools, Tang Yuxin pursued another method of education. This person is in Hualien as well as Jianghua and Taidong, all at the same time engaging in an online course. While such education isn't anything new, Tang Yuxin is using China's online education platform CC Talk to conduct this course.
现在好，请老师指导同学读题，然后开始进行解题。
16 years ago, Huijiang was established, and with some 130 million users in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan, many people turn to the virtual world for instruction with some 1 million users a day for CC Talk. The software also offers a whiteboard and functions much the same as a normal classroom. Over the past few decades, China has merged some 200,000 schools, and officials found this was too much as they have revised their policies.
Now the government is going slower and prohibiting the closing and moving of schools. Huijiang Network is working with private enterprise to provide this free online educational service in China for these rural schools, as the internet is helping with their education.
In contrast, Taiwan, Tang Yuxin's Yuancheng Elementary School only has 2 students in a class, as these educational resources are not equal.
Taiwan is facing the same problems as China. Here in Taiwan, there is an official document that prohibits closing schools, and in China, the private sector and businesses are more active in helping schools stay open.
Tang Yuxin often interacts with the media, saying that education is like planting a forest. The sparse conditions we see now may be due to the fact that the government doesn't assign any importance to education.
If the community and the school are both unaware of this crisis, then there's no way the school can survive.
Whether these schools can weather this crisis is another issue. Some believe that there is hope that digital technology may help them close the gap between urban and rural education.
DaAi TV signed an agreement with Zhuangjing Vocational High School for cooperation, so the students are able to enter the job field early to gain practical experiences. Here's our report.
Whether it is a color guard squad swinging rifles or passionate dancers with energy, young people are brave to show themselves. There is a bigger stage for their performances. 合作意向书正式签约. DaAi TV and Zhuangjing Vocational High School signed an agreement. The students won't just receive job training, they can also seek out their directions through various types of jobs.
The most important thing is to give students more chances. Our school includes a lot of departments, and through them the students learn their professional skills and professional knowledge in their daily lives.
Our DaAi TV has the apprenticeship, so we hope to pick the right people. One mentor will teach one apprentice and pass on things like production and technical skills. We can also recruit more talented people.
In addition to creating job opportunities, both sides hope to train more talented people before and behind the screen through practical combinations of experiences.
At DaAi Kindergarten in Kipon, Malaysia, a teacher taught her students to understand the hardship faced by Syrian refugees. After the lesson, these kindergarteners not only saved up to help the refugees, they also encouraged other classes to follow suit. We'll leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.